Welcome, everyone, to the MBC Podcast, the Miami Business Club podcast. My name is Dietmar. I'm a member of the MBC, and I'm here today with Stefan Lingmerth, who is the founder of the Miami Business Club, as well as our fearless leader. Welcome, Stefan. How are you doing?
Good. How are you doing, Dietmar? Thank you for having me.
It's awesome. I'm super excited to have you on the podcast and hear about your experiences, your stories, and what we can learn from you. So we just talked about you're the founder and our fearless leader of the Miami Business Club. And you have some other businesses as well that you're engaged in.
I was corporate America for a long time. I lived in New York for 20 years. And I worked for 2 hedge funds up there doing kind of the corporate grind. But since COVID, I have been more of an entrepreneur here in Miami. So I have my own investment firm. It's called Sunshine Capital. It's a registered investment advisory firm, licensed here in the state of Florida. And I manage people's brokerage accounts. I get a fee for that. But I have a strategy, so very specific. We can go into that at some point.
Gotcha. Yeah, we'll talk a little bit more about that.
But and then I'm a co-founder, partner in a restaurant here in Wynwood called Lira. It's Lebanese, authentic Lebanese food.
Gotcha. Okay.
A longer story behind that too. We can talk about that as well. And
then I'd love to maybe touch base on that today, or maybe another time when we're actually at the restaurant. I've been there. I've tasted the food. It's amazing. I love it.
I'm going there after this. So on Sundays we do live music between 1 and 4.
Oh wow!
It's really
awesome.
chill, really cool. Get some good food.
Okay.
And you listen to some cool music.
That's great. That's great. I love that. That's awesome. Stefan, you mentioned you went from the corporate world and then you became self-employed. How was that for you? What was driving that?
Yeah, I think it was. I had a feeling a few years before COVID that I wanted to do something else. I had a second home here in Miami, and I used to come here and feeling like very stressed about going back to New York and then to the corporate life. I think sort of had burned out somewhat. And so I felt like I wanted a new start, but I wasn't able to kind of break out of it. And COVID made it happen. And I moved out of New York in April 2020 into my second home here in Miami and made it my first home. Primary residence, and then you had to reinvent yourself, And,
in what way?
Yeah, just I didn't feel going back to corporate. I didn't feel at the time to work for someone. I wanted to create something myself. I didn't really know what it was I wanted to create, but I do think one of these. So it's not yet really business. The Miami Business Club is more of a community. It's more of a side thing for all of us to enjoy, right? Not necessarily business. I don't charge people, right? So, but I feel like it's helped me so much with just having a fun time, social, get connected here in Miami. And the idea of networking and getting connected with people it could lead to other opportunities. So you might not know what you really want to do, but if you meet a lot of people and I think that could really lead to something else.
Was that sort of part of the reason why you founded the Miami Business Club, that you wanted to connect with the local community and see where your own journey can take you?
100%. I was thinking maybe I do some investments. I already done the Lira investment at the time, and I was thinking maybe there's some other investments. So far, we had a couple of ideas, but it hasn't really happened. So that's one of the ideas with it. But in general, it was just really kind of see where it was going, It could have gone to an employment somewhere too. Who knows, right?
Right.
But just recently, a lot of people have been saying you should run for office. The local politics has been a big part of the Miami Business Club as of late.
Yeah.
Well, the politicians, but nothing really. We discussed this too, you and me, right? Probably nothing we want to do, right? So
maybe not yet.
No, and I think Miami Business Club helps out with that part. Helping
absolutely.
people find themselves. We have a force. So if the local politics or the local politicians want to bring a message, we have a platform for a lot of.
That's
people,
right. Yeah. It's a very powerful platform that you've created, right? How many members are there currently?
It's like 1,000 people now.
1,000 people. That's amazing.
But I would say, active. We probably have 300-400 that are like super active. So we can get 250 people now to the event.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Which have been amazing, you know. And last event, just a few days before, we sent out an email and we got over probably 120 to 150 people at
Oh
that
wow,
event,
that's
at the Harbor Club, right?
That's amazing.
Yeah.
Yes,
So
yes.
you
I remember that.
Yeah, you were at the event. I do think Miami now, I mean, like for the last, if you compare Miami summer with before COVID, it's a huge change. Like we have different conferences, we have different sort of weeks. We have the swim week, we have the fitness week. There's like a lot of new ideas coming from the city to create the buzz about the summer here.
Right.
Obviously, the weather is a bit tough. It's very humid and hot.
It can be a little bit more on the hotter side and on the more wetter side, but I think humidity is great for us.
But also
good for the skin.
Yeah. No, but also like the traffic is less, right?
Right.
In the summer.
So.
And if you want to go to your favorite restaurant, it's amazing. And if you want to jump in the ocean, the water is amazing. It's not a bad spot to be in the summer. Of course.
I like it here actually as well, and I enjoy it. I think it's also having the right mindset that helps making it through the summer. And talking about summer, right? The summers are probably legendary in Sweden. Can you tell us a little bit more about those summers, as well as like the when you have like the
midsummer,
going from midsummer, right? I was missing that word. Thank you. Tell us a little bit about that, as well as maybe like your background. How is life in Sweden? What's it like growing up there?
Yeah, I mean, I think Sweden is a beautiful country.
Sure.
It's very it's got a long history too. So that kind of builds the culture of the country. One of the old histories or the old traditions that we have is the Midsummer Eve party, which is kind of a pagan tradition. It's not a religious tradition. It's really celebrating the harvest, celebrating the longest day of the year, sort of celebration of life, which I find awesome. So we usually, what we do is at the evening we raise a maypole, or in the afternoon we start and people dance. We have the songs, the dances, and we and the whole family goes. You picnic, you're out in the garden, and you have your maypole, and the flowers are hanging from the maypole, and the women has like a flower bouquet in the hair. I don't know what you would call that in English, but it's beautiful.
We get it. Yeah.
It's a beautiful tradition. Everyone is just happy and dancing and singing and eating. So,
right.
And then obviously the sun doesn't go down. I was looking at the Apple weather thing the other day, and the sun goes down like 9:50 now in Sweden.
Wow, that's late.
The sun sets late.
It sounds amazing and sounds a lot like around people, families coming together and creating this sense of community. And I'm just trying to understand also Miami Business Club. You mentioned it also. It's all about community, right? Is that sort of maybe also what you've had in your mind from the past? Just creating some sort of more also community here on a local level.
That's going back way far, I guess. No, but that community building we have in Sweden is amazing. Family.
It sounds like it.
I came from a village, and everyone's sort of hanging out. You have this tradition, and you meet up at the football field or whatever, do stuff. So it's fun. No, but I think the community. I think we all urge to interact with other people, right?
Right.
If you can find sort of a common ground to interact and have a good space for it, where you feel comfortable talking to friends, talking to new friends, create that.
Right.
That's amazing, isn't it?
Absolutely. And education system in Scandinavia and Sweden is like at the forefront. How was that for you? Can you share some of your experiences around that?
Very safe and good, I would say. Like I lived in a small village. I'm not from Stockholm, but in a small village, you have your 30 people in your age group, and you get to know each other, and you spend every day together with both in school and out of school, right? So of course it becomes family. So it was really good. Our village had like one school, we had one church, we had one store,
That's
we had
awesome.
one
Love
football
it.
field, right?
Uh-huh.
Actually, two football fields.
Oh wow.
So that was my life growing
Great.
up.
Yeah.
It's very safe and calm, and but it also, of course, like when you get a little older, it's a little boring.
Right.
It's not that many opportunities to learn and experience and face new challenges and stuff. So.
Was that what sort of drew you out of the village into, probably you studied at a larger city, right? Yep. And then sort of you came eventually to the US. Was that sort of like looking for more opportunities or maybe more excitement?
Yeah, I think it was very simple like that. Yeah, you grew up in a small village, very safe, very amazing and supportive and stuff. But again, a little bit like, where are the opportunities? I don't want to spend my whole life here, kind of thing. I love going back there now, but I'm so glad I took myself out of there and learned something new. So I went to college, not a massive city. I didn't go to Stockholm, but I went to Halmstad. I always wanted to go abroad, so the program I did was European Business Program.
Oh, okay.
So I studied European Business Program. It was kind of like European. We had joined the EU at the time. Like, what is the EU? What's working in other cities and stuff like that, or other countries. So I did that, and then.
Were you studying also in other parts of Europe during the time?
Yep. So the European Business Program had 2 years in Sweden, then you had to go your third year somewhere else. I chose to go to England, but I didn't go there. I actually went to Australia first.
Oh wow!
Because I didn't really feel like I needed something more. So it was sort of a gap year. I studied finance and accounting in Australia. Wow. And then after that year, I had to finish my program in Europe, and I went to the UK or England in a kind of like tougher town. It was called Hull. Hull. It was Lincolnshire and Humberside University, close to York. The college, and York was beautiful, but Hull, the city itself,
was like a little bit rougher spots.
Yeah, back then. This is, I'm not going to age myself yet, but this is back in the
awesome.
90. What was that? 99? No, 2000. 2000. Yeah. So in 2000. And it was still kind of like the northern part of England, a little rougher. I think it's more developed now. But they had the harbour, the marina, and nice to pay for college. I went to work as a bartender in the bar there.
Oh wow! What an experience! Amazing. So you, I can only imagine, right? With those folks coming to the pub and what is this Swedish guy doing here? It's like
I got called some names.
Wow. Talking about that, right? You have a quite an interesting background, and like with being in Australia and then growing up in Sweden and London and now here in the US. I'm wondering, right? It's like you're born and raised in Sweden. For me, Sweden, I'm from Germany originally. We think of Sweden as part of like Scandinavia. How is that identity as for you coming from Sweden with Scandinavia, and then also you mentioned earlier joining the European Union. How does that sort of like, compare and relate to each other?
The Scandinavian culture, because we sort of avoided the Second World War to a certain extent, right? We always had this the stamp of being a neutral country in modern times. So Sweden flourished in the 50s. We had a lot of things going on, a lot of architectural, manufacturing. We obviously had forests, so we could supply Europe with like wood, timber. We have iron ore, so we can supply steel. So it was very flourished. So it's a kind of a rich country growing up in the 80s. And very safe. Like, we have a social capitalistic system.
Do you feel more connected with folks in Denmark, for example, or Norway compared to someone in Italy or in Spain?
Oh, yeah. I mean, 100%. Yeah. I mean, again, I feel pretty connected now as a global person, right? With people from Italy, like some of my best friends are from Italy.
Right. Yeah.
So that's, of course, but no, I would say like the Norwegian, Swedish, Danish cultures are very similar.
Right. They're just more close to
and the language
culture,
too.
right?
We can actually speak our our own language and understand.
And you understand each other?
Yeah, but
also with the Finnish folks.
No,
the Finns. They're
So my grandma was from. She grew up in Finland. She came over in the 50s to Sweden to work. And Finland was part of the World War II, so it's like tougher time. Sweden was flourishing. So she came over. She met my grandpa. She was young there, and then stayed, and that's. Finland has totally different. I've been there many times. Not Finland, but it's totally different culture and a different language. Although growing up, she had to learn Swedish in school. You have that too, right?
You have that. Yeah. I once also worked with some Finns in Germany, and they tend to be more on the quiet side.
Yeah.
But when they speak, you better listen.
Yeah. Otherwise, they beat you.
And then we're thinking about like the Finnish sauna culture. Is that similar in Sweden? That fabled sauna culture. Tell us a little bit more about it. What it's really like.
I would say it's not as big as it is in Finland, but it's big. Definitely, like when I went to visit Finland as a young kid, I remember like the football team. So one of my distant cousins, I guess, he played in the football team, soccer team, and they had a sauna in the locker room, and everyone was like sitting in the sauna afterwards, right? Awesome. In Sweden, you don't necessarily have that, but a lot of people, if you have a home, you have a sauna. So we had a sauna, we still have a sauna at home. If you build a home, maybe not these days, but like back in the day, you build a sauna too. It's kind of part of everyday life, right? And also like in school and stuff. But I think the spa culture in the US has become that too, right? You have a sauna or steam room, like in a gym and stuff like that.
Yeah, a lot of buildings here also in Miami have now spa, sauna. Probably a big difference is people are not running around naked here in the spa or in the sauna like in Sweden or in Finland, right?
And in Finland too, if you have a little cabin somewhere, I was actually in Finland 2022, and I lived in a cabin next to a lake for a week.
Oh wow!
I went to run the World Championship for the 800 meter and the 1500 meter. So I compete in masters running, which is a different discussion too. But anyways, so we stayed there, and they had a sauna just by the lake, a wood-fired sauna, right? So I was the one, because I stayed with the American team.
Yeah.
We organized here from Miami and New York to go there. We were like 7 of us, I think. And so I was in charge of the sauna, like chopping wood, putting the wood in the fire, and then get it going,
How was that for the teammates from the US? Did they enjoy that?
Yeah, they liked it, but they were a little weak in the sauna, You gotta like really heat it up. And
it's a lot hotter.
This is too hot,
right? It's a lot hotter compared to here.
It's almost like the whole oven or whatever you want to call it, right? It starts burning, right. Glowing. So it's great.
Love that. Well, Stefan, thank you for sharing those experiences and growing up in Sweden, what it's like to live there. That's awesome. Tell us a little bit more about going then from Sweden or from Europe, wherever you were, and coming to the US.
Yeah. So this is a pretty crazy story. So we said, okay, I went to Australia, I came back, and I went to England. And then when I was in England, I found out about an internship in New York. So it was an internship where people from London, so I was studying in London, but I could apply to this internship in London. People from London going to New York, people from New York going to London. And I got into the program, I got elected, and then I flew over in September, and I landed at JFK, September 10, 2001. So it was the day before 9/11, right? And so I was in Manhattan, 1 a.m. I remember taking a cab from JFK into Manhattan, seeing Empire State Building. I don't remember seeing the World Trade Center. And then next morning, we had a meeting at 8 a.m. Obviously, we all know what catastrophe was and what happened. 8:45, the first plane hit. And I was in a meeting with 60 other people in my age, going to do an internship at different companies in New York. So it was just a kind of a crazy start to the internship.
I can only imagine.
To my sort of corporate career in New York.
Yeah. Wow, what a timing. When you were in that meeting with the others that morning, how did you learn about?
Oh, that 9/11? Was also crazy because we didn't have a TV in that room. So at 8:50 or something like that, the teacher comes in, or the head of the program coming into the room, because we had to introduce ourselves. It was like, the one you sit next to, you're going to talk to him a little bit, and then you're going to introduce him for everyone else.
Okay, got it.
So it's like an exercise. He comes in the middle of one of these introductions, said, hey, I got some news. It's fine, but there is a plane crashed into the World Trade Center. And immediately I'm thinking, like, this is some like stress exercise. Interviewing each other, and like it's adding some stress to it.
Right.
It was a weird thinking first. Obviously, that wasn't the case at all. But so that's kind of how it happened, and then it just escalated that whole day. But we were in a room. Basically, I was in a room on 42nd and Vanderbilt, because the internship program was called Mountbatten Internship Program. They had their office there. So I was there all day, basically, and just kind of following on the TV. So what happens was, the other room had a TV, so we all like started congregating into the other kind of conference room and started watching this, and it went to more crazy, right? But we were Midtown, so thank God. Like,
so you were very close to when it happened.
Yep. And back in the day too, you didn't have cell phones. So I had a cell phone back in Sweden, but it wasn't the same. We had GSM. They had different kind of cellular systems.
Right, different networks.
So you couldn't even bring your phone. It was useless. And I didn't have anything, and the whole system kind of broke down for a while. But I was able to communicate with my parents that I was okay and stuff. And they didn't really know where I was.
Yeah, I can imagine.
I said I'll call you when I get there at some point, but you couldn't. So
right.
It was chaos for like at least a week.
Wow.
And the crazy thing is, that first week, walking on Fifth Avenue, was no traffic. It was empty, ghost town. My first week in New York, knowing how busy New York is and how it never sleeps, right? Slept the whole week. So that was crazy. And then moving out of New York, I moved out in the pandemic in April 2020.
From New York to Miami.
So I had an apartment in New York when COVID happened, and I had my second home in Miami. So I decided to move here, and it was end of April 2020. We had an office, or I had an office at the time in Grand Central. So I walked from my Bryant Park apartment to Grand Central. No one there. We walked through this Grand Central terminal that 8 a.m. in the morning was like super busy. No one there. I have some pictures of like pigeons flying around, and that was it. Like no one.
Wow.
It was crazy. It was kind of safe than COVID. You want to avoid people, I guess.
Right.
So I avoided people because there was no one there.
Yeah.
But then I moved out so I moved into New York just before 9/11. I moved out just after COVID, or like when COVID was.
So two very memorable events.
Yeah, crazy events.
You're connected with New York. And you said you moved to Miami Beach, and then also to basically leave the corporate world behind you.
Yep.
Was that sort of like, now with COVID, like, okay, now is a good time, let's do it? And so that helped you with making that move?
Yes, it definitely was. I had felt a little bit before in 2018, 19. I like running, for instance, and I had an injury. I had a bad Achilles, and in 2019, August 2019, I had a surgery. So, and I felt that work was not going as well anymore, and I wasn't really happy about it. So I couldn't run. I wasn't happy at work. Actually, I was married, but my relationship wasn't going so well either. So it was bound to be like a change. I was trying to get a change in my life, but. And so COVID to me, whatever happened to me was kind of a blessing. I got a fresh start, kind of reinventing myself here in Miami.
Yeah. Awesome.
So it's all good.
I can see that. Yeah, it's like, and looks like you're doing great. And I've been a member of the MBC for many years now, and I really, really enjoy the club, what you're doing, and what you've created. So I love that. And
I'm glad to hear.
Yes, right. It's like what you mentioned earlier, community. For me, that's really, really super important. I'm always looking forward to the monthly meetups of the MBC, bringing people together, connecting with people I know. but also connecting with new people, learn from others. So for me, it's super valuable. And I think that's also what's driving you to do that, if I'm correct, right?
Yeah,
This
no,
community,
100%.
you mentioned that earlier.
Yeah. No, I like hosting. I like building this community, be part of it, kind of driving it where it's going, you know. And so
right when you start such a club, right? You start basically with yourself. How did you sort of like get the first couple members to come together, and tell us a little bit about that, the start?
So I was doing it actually with a friend, and so we were sitting talking, we were trading stocks together. He was sitting next to me, I was sitting in front of my computer talking, and we're saying like, how do we meet people here in Miami? He came from Nick Diaz. He came from Chicago. He worked for Citadel before.
Okay.
And he had a break. He went to London and then came back, and he kind of wanted to do his own thing too, right? So we're sitting both there, both doing our own things. Like, we should meet people, right? How do we meet people? And I was just thinking back of New York. Like, I want to create sort of the after work feeling that we had in New York, but make it like more community based here in Miami. So one of the things that I wanted to create was like, it has to be a professional group. So one of the things you can do is, guys, you got to wear a jacket, like come in suits. Because when a lot of people sit at home, you know, you're sitting in your t-shirt and shorts, and then you go out and you meet people in your flip-flops. It just doesn't create that sort of professional business environment.
Right.
So I said it has to be a jacket. Some people were like complaining about it in the beginning, but I think now people enjoy it. I have a few friends that says the only time I wear a jacket is when I come to your events.
Same here, pretty much.
Which is kind of funny, but but I think they enjoy it too. So, anyways, the group makes it look professional. Then you feel a little bit more okay. This is serious. You take pictures. You can show promotion for the next event. That looks like a good crowd. Right? But yeah, so we started. The first event was, I believe, January 2021. I had called around to my friends here. Basically, Nick didn't know that many here, so I had my group, and we were probably like 10, 12 people. And we met at the Champagne Bar at Four Seasons, Surfside.
Nice.
It's a classy place, you know, like we were only guys, but yeah, we met up there, and I had contacted the McKellen group. A couple of years before, I'd been to like a whiskey tasting in New York, and I knew they had ambassadors around the world doing tastings for people. So I called up that person that I knew in New York and said, "Oh, we have this guy, Danny. He's in Miami. We should contact him." So I called him up. It's like, "Yeah, come around. Like, if you supply the apps or the appetizers, I can give you the whiskeys." So we got basically free scotch from McKellen the first time at the Four Seasons Surfside, and that was sort of the start of, okay, we have a little community now. Everyone really enjoyed it. I stood up and told people like, we're going to keep doing this. The feedback of the monthly event was really good, and everyone says, "Oh, I'm really looking forward to next time."
When you think about, like, you know, the next couple years, like, do you have like a vision for the future where the club can go, could go, right? It's like just some thoughts.
Yeah, there's always some thoughts. Like, sometimes you don't want to think about it too much. I feel like exactly what you're saying. I like action. I like to, okay, let's do this now, right? And then we plan the next after this, right? So that's been I would say that's been sort of the mission for the club so far. It's just hard to see where it can go. It can go different paths, right? But I think the path that it's been going is to be consistent, stick to like those sort of simple rules that we have, like keep it professional, you know, maybe not dilute it too much, not too many events. It should be a monthly event. It's great. I have a kind of a silly rule, but it's a very important rule. It's like no asshole policy, right? People have been saying, should we monetize it? Should we charge a membership fee? Stuff like that. Maybe, but I think, again, the community of having successful people meeting is so strong value. Like, I feel like the people that, if they don't really take advantage of this, you're missing out a little bit, because we are getting really good people coming to these events.
Absolutely.
that are open to meet, right? We get the politicians, we get some billionaires, we get some really strong leaders in the community, and entrepreneurs starting their own new businesses, and it's super valuable in my view. So I think if we can keep going in that direction, it's great.
Absolutely. I absolutely love the direction. Also, sort of what you're looking into, and it's like that simple policy is almost like similar to what Google had in the past. Don't be evil. Don't be an asshole, right? It works really well. Is there anything that you are really sort of like proud of yourself that having achieved, something with the MBC, or is there anything that you're looking back and say, oh, this was a great accomplishment?
Yeah, I think there's almost every time I do the event, it get a little bit more interesting, a little more fun, a little bigger maybe, and that's amazing itself. So every month I feel pretty proud over it, I guess. But the one event I've been sort of trying to tell this out, manifested, I guess is the word. I would love to do an event where we have something with David Beckham here in Miami. So David Beckham
yes, let's
do
it.
Yeah, it's going to happen. Sort of working on it, but I haven't really pushed it too much. But I think we had Francis Suarez come to one of our events, the mayor here. He's pretty high profile.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we had some of the big developers that have been hosting events for us. And we're getting connected in the Miami society, which is good. But the one sort of me as a soccer player, football player, growing up, following David Beckham's career, his business career, I think it's been fantastic.
Yes,
right?
Yes, I've read about that recently, and the upcoming new stadium in Miami. I mean, what he's doing is awesome.
He was so smart, I thought, when he went to LA Galaxy. So he sort of finished his football career in the US, comes over, and he's like, okay, I'll take a pay cut and stuff like that, but I want an option to get an MLS team.
Right.
And there was a $30 million option. He executed it, or he got it happen, and that was the start of the Inter Miami. And now Inter Miami, obviously, he got Messi. It's they had a club World Cup going on, and they played pretty well. They were an integral part of the Club World Cup here. We get a new stadium, $1 billion stadium by the airport. Which,
super exciting.
Traffic's going to be a nightmare, I guess, but no, that's super exciting. So he's so cool, and just like he's been a fashion icon too. He's sort of popular culture icon, I think. Which would be so cool to meet and
absolutely
and hear the story from him, live, right?
That would be great.
What I'm thinking is what we should do is like smaller dinner where some big hitters gotta have to come and cough up some money. Like I was thinking 10,000 maybe a seat, and it goes to his charity. So he has
that's a great idea.
With I believe the UNESCO, right? It's his charity. So it would be for the kids. Of course, you can't say anything bad about that. And then you get a dinner. Maybe the dinner will be a lira or something.
Your job as a investment manager. Let's talk a little bit about that. Heard a lot about the Miami Business Club, what's driving you, and it seems like you still have some time for your other businesses, right? It's like Lira, that's probably also takes quite some time at the restaurant, and then your business as an investment manager. Tell us a little bit more about that business, what you're doing, what you're focusing on.
Yeah, so I started a year ago now, exactly a year ago in June 2024. I named it Sunshine Capital. So we're here in the Sunshine State, right?
Miami style.
And capital, I spell it with a K. So that's the way we spell it in Sweden.
Oh, okay. So you brought in your cultural heritage with that?
With where I'm living. And sunshine too, when you think about investments, that's a good thing, right? Like
it's very positive.
Have a bright and future and sunshine. You don't want to have a rainy state.
Right.
Although we discussed this a little bit before, the companies that I tend to invest in, to me, they're kind of like hidden gems. You were talking about this before, hidden gems. But they're really out of favor stocks. So the stocks that have gone down doesn't mean the company is a bad company.
Right.
There could be something going on in the industry, or whatever it could be. Right? Maybe it's a bad balance sheet. But I find like if you can find somewhat of an interesting company, and the stock is down, and you have the time now to really dig into it. And I do that. I dig in. I write research on Seeking Alpha, so I publish it on Seeking Alpha. But I really just dig in personally for me and for my clients to find out if this is a hidden gem.
How do you find these hidden gems?
So it's, it always comes to kind of in your lap in different ways. I follow the market. I've been in the stock market for 25 years now. I have a lot of people in the industry that I know, and they can screen different ways. I use Seeking Alpha to screen. So if the stock is down a lot, like I can look at them, and usually it's more dismiss a lot of them, but like sometimes you find something that's really good. So like that's the way it comes in your lap in different ways.
What would be sort of like one or two top criteria for you to pick them, and then you would probably recommend them to your clients, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's not recommending. I have discretion over my clients, so I will buy it.
You'll buy it on behalf of
the clients. I would say a big thing is what is this business worth, right? I'm looking at the business worth. And you can compare it with other similar businesses, or you can think about the cash flow that this business generates. You can look at another way to think about this is like if you own a home, if your monthly payment is way above where you can rent it out for, you probably doesn't have a good deal. But if you own a home and now the rent payment that you can get for this, and you paying like nothing, right? Probably valuable.
Right.
So I look at the intrinsic value of the business, and if that's much higher than where it's creating it through the stock, I'm very interested, right? And how do I get to that number? There's different ways, but it's the cash flow, it's the earnings, cash flow. Maybe there's some assets that the company have. So you really got to do the work, got to read through the 10K and the 10Qs, and you got to talk to industry participants, and it takes some time, but
it does sound like you're diving really deep into those companies. And you mentioned some 10K, or what was that? What's that all about?
It's the SEC filing for the annual report.
Oh, okay.
And the 10Q is the SEC file. So SEC is the Securities Exchange Commission. That I feel like the US market is just so developed versus other markets around the world. And one of the reasons is the laws and regulations that we created through the last 100 years, since the 30s. The SEC was created back then, and they started like these acts, and just kind of like having to disclose. If you're in the public market, you have to disclose a lot, right? Most of the stuff that you can disclose, you have to, and you disclose this in SEC filings. The annual report is called 10K. When it's government and securities laws, like they come up with these numbers.
If someone has already a financial advisor, they may say, well, I'm all set. Is that right?
No, I view myself a little more like a hedge fund manager. Again, I'm looking at these companies where I think they're worth a lot more than where the stock is trading. Maybe double, triple, 5-bagger, right? 10-bagger perhaps. Depends, what kind of risk you want to take and stuff. But so it's really like more upside to me than a regular stock.
Right.
But that also creates some volatility. If the stock is $5 and it goes down $1, that's the 20%, right?
Right, but volatility also increases or drives returns, right?
Exactly.
With that, so that's just
so
normal.
Basically, so basically, like they shouldn't allocate maybe all of the money to me, but some of it, right?
Some of it, right?
And the financial advisor could say, okay, I agree on that, right? Because they will look at overall kind of portfolio. So I'm trying to be more. Again, right now I have 11 investments for my clients. I wrote this to my client last week. I think right now it's a good time where it's 35% now of the S&P 500 is 7 companies.
The Magnificent Seven.
Yeah, so the Mag 7 are 35% of the S&P.
Of the S&P, that's a lot.
That's a
huge,
lot, right? So I think now if you want to go into the next 493 companies, there's probably some hidden gems there.
Absolutely.
And so I think if you can diversify part of your portfolio to someone like me, who's done it for a long time, kind of has a strategy that is sound and seems to be logical enough, right? That could be a good opportunity for both me and for my client.
Absolutely.
I also wrote, and we talked a little bit briefly about this too, right? I think there's two drivers of the general stock market to do well going forward. I think the Fed is going to continue to pause a little bit, but they're going to continue to or resume cutting rates, and that's probably bullish for the stock market.
Right.
And then you got the big beautiful bill that went through the Senate and Congress, and there's a lot of tax breaks. And tax breaks is probably stimulative for the economy. There's going to be more money in the consumer pocket.
Right.
So I think those two things in combination where you want to look and diversify to other risk assets or equities, but a little more, not just the popular ones.
Even though I'm not an expert, but sort of on a macro level, I was okay, I've been watching some videos about that as well, so I can see that. Even though I probably would need to say this is not financial advice. This is only for information and entertainment purposes at this level. However, what I want to come back to is basically then my understanding is you would be working beside a more traditional financial advisor, where a client can work and keep their financial planner, advisor, whatever they refer to as such, and then work with you with some part of their portfolio where you are pretty much like their own private hedge fund manager.
I would say that makes total sense.
Absolutely, I can see that as well.
I would like to get on the platform of Morgan Stanley, JP Morgan, all these bigger banks that have a platform for registered investment advisors, so RIAs, and then the financial advisors can actually go and pick, I want this portfolio, I want this and that.
So it's more working together and not a competition, right? It's sort of one team, you just have more experts now on that team in your finance team, right?
The financial advisors up here
say
you should have bonds, you have stocks,
right.
And in that stock portfolio, I can recommend
you
Stefan.
can recommend. Makes total sense. Absolutely love that. So anyone who wants to connect with you about that, how would they get in touch with you?
I got my website, sunshinecapital.com.
With a K, sunshinecapital.com.
And I got Instagram, I guess you can find me, and
got it.
Twitter. I'm pretty, I wouldn't say prolific on Twitter, but I got a lot of followers on Twitter. I post my Seeking Alpha research that too, and obviously Seeking Alpha, you can find me and connect with me there. Write me a message. Most of these social media platforms, they have a direct message box. So you can
so you can send a direct message. Perfect.
My phone number, you can even call me.
Stefan, I really, really enjoyed our conversation today. I learned a lot about you, about the club, about investments. Coming from Sweden, born and raised there, now living in the US for quite some time. How do you feel? Swedish, American, mixture of both? What's your identity?
I was thinking about the other day that I lived half my life in the US and half my life in Europe or Sweden. So I'm not sure, but my adult life now, it's been here in the US. So I would say I feel like an American. I have a green card. I don't have the citizenship yet. I don't have a passport. I have the Swedish passport, and that's it. But it's a mix. It's you feel American with the Swedish kind of background, and when I go home there, I love it. It's amazing, but it's just a mix. I think, it's hard to say, but I just feel me. Well, also living in Miami, I feel like it's a bit different from anywhere else in the US.
Right. Whole different
right
roles.
Now, the last 4 years, it's been a bubble that has been growing. Bubble in the sense of a good life, growth, stuff happening, opportunities. So it's very exciting, being in Miami.
It is.
Very exciting.
I love Miami. It looks like you love Miami as well. Well, thank you for starting the Miami Business Club, Stefan. We're super happy about that. Yes, thank you for the opportunity of being a member here. I'm excited about the next couple events coming up during the summer and later on this year.
I can briefly talk about the next one we have on Thursday. I don't know if it's going to be published before Thursday, but we're going to Smith & Wollensky, and we're going to be on the roof terrace there in the back, which is beautiful, beautiful venue. It's an old kind of iconic venue. And then the roof terrace has a beautiful view.
It does.
You know, we do it between 7 and 9, so we're going to get the sunset, and then also the ships, the cruise ships come through
there as well.
And that's pretty cool.
Awesome.
And,
love it.
You know, good connections. The mayor is coming. We're going to say a few words about what's happening in Miami Beach. So that's fun.
I love that.
And there's a few other people coming. Maybe there's some other speeches. But yeah, it's going to be good.
Awesome. Cool. Thank you, Stefan.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you for taking the time for the conversation. We're out for today with the MBC podcast. Thank you.